Princess Tutu. I know it's impossible to say that name without sounding kind of goofy and very frou-frou, but this is one of the most subversive, smartly written, and honestly really epic anime shows that I've seen. So don't let the title make you think that it's just something where girls in pretty dresses bounce around, because okay, there's a little bit of that, but there's also a really compelling story going on. Princess Tutu is directed by Sato Junchi, who worked on the first two seasons of Sailor Moon and later on the animation called Aria. So he is an expert in doing magical girl stuff that's more episodic, that's very cheerful and cute, but it also has a lot of emotional depth to it. So basically, this is a story about stories. The premise of the show is that an author dies while writing his book, and that leaves all the characters in this limbo where they can never finish the story, and they're just stuck where they are. Basically, what happens in the story is that there's this evil raven that's attacking a town, and a noble prince rips his heart out to seal the raven away, and all the pieces of the heart get lost, and the prince is left without his heart, and the raven is sealed away, but the raven's not really vanquished either. And where the anime starts is with this little duck watching the prince from the story as he's dancing, and he looks so sad and so lonely that she decides she wants to help him, even though she's just a duck. And then the spirit of the author grants her the power to be able to help him return his heart. This show is an excellent introduction to the stories of classical ballet and opera. And not only do they reference the stories through the episodes, they also use all this gorgeous classical music. And this is their mood-setting music, and their theme music, and their fight scene music, which sounds really weird because, I mean, in the first episode you have the Waltz of the Flowers matched to this magical girl transformation where she makes this giant field of flowers, and it sounds very strange, but honestly I think it's one of the most epic moments that I've seen in anime, and I just think it's really creative how they not only made references to ballet for the story, they actually used the real music, and they incorporated it really well so it matches what the characters are doing. So as you can imagine, this show does take a very subversive look at stories, and especially about the roles of characters. All the main characters are given a certain role by the story that determines what they're going to do, what they want, and how they'll end up. But through the show, they really come to question that, and they question whether what they wanted was good in the first place. And even though often the story gives them a very tragic ending, and they know this is the most likely ending that they're going to end up with, they still keep fighting for what they believe in. They choose to defy the story and to be their own person and to learn from their experiences and really step outside that role. So I think that's where the strength of the series comes from. I think you particularly see this in an interesting way with some of the side characters. Like you have Fakir, who originally starts out in this kind of knightly role where he's destined to be the knight who fails at being a knight. But as he begins to kind of move away from that more fighting, protecting role, he realizes that he has other strengths and he's able to support his friends in a different way. Another interesting character is Rue, who's given this like very witchy, femme fatale rival role in the story. And she's supposed to be very possessive and evil and working with the villain. But she also has a lot of depth for feeling, and she begins to form these really close relationships with the other characters, and then she kind of realizes, like, wow, like, those were like really bad decisions I made and terrible things that I did. And I think that's so unusual for a female character of this type who looks and acts the way Rue does. You usually don't see them getting any kind of redemption arc, and I just really like seeing that in this show. Overall, I definitely recommend Princess Tutu if you're a fan of magical girl anime, such as from the 90s and early 2000s, like Sailor Moon, and if you're a fan of subversive magical girl anime like Revolutionary Girl Utena and Madoka Magica. It's a delightfully cute story. It is appropriate for younger kids, and it's also really deep and gives you some really likable characters and some gorgeous classical music. So definitely check it out.